We're here today at Complete Body in Manhattan. I just got done with a little bit of shoulder training. For those of you who are familiar with some history in the sport, and actually for those of you who aren't familiar, this gym was formerly called 19th Street Gym, and then before that called Better Bodies. Better Bodies was founded and run for many years by now photographer Brian Moss. It was a kind of a hardcore, beacon for a lot of bodybuilders and just trainees in the area. Even to this day, as you're going to see in the video, very, very cool atmosphere and very hospitable atmosphere as well. Good equipment. And today we trained some shoulders. It was a nice solid workout. I began the workout with a superset of machine side laterals and Smith machine shoulder presses. And this is a combination that I like very much because I'm able to really tax the muscle with the shoulder presses and have a really strong mind-muscle connection without using ridiculous amounts of weight, which when I'm by myself and training alone, that's kind of a preferable way to go, when I don't have a spot. After that, moved on to just some straight sets of some upright rows. Wrapped it up with some bent over lateral raises, superset with machine rear laterals. And overall, it's a very solid workout. Shoulders are something that I don't like to spend, an hour and a half, 2 hours doing. 45 minutes to an hour I find to be totally sufficient. And anything more than that, I find that my shoulders will actually start to go a bit downhill, get smaller, weaker, especially when I'm doing a lot of heavy chest training and a lot of heavy back training. On both of those days, you're using quite a bit of shoulder. So, find what's best for you, but obviously be conscious of overdoing it. On the topic of volume and frequency, people ask often, how often should I be training a muscle group? How many sets should I be doing for that muscle group? This is very individual. And the thing that I found, and contrary to what a lot of people think, is that as you go on, as you become more advanced, you don't need as much training in the way of frequency or volume. In the beginning, you're not as big, you don't have as much mass, and B, your efficiency isn't as good as it is once you become more experienced. So you're not able to recruit muscles so strongly and so efficiently. As you go on and you gain more size, it's much easier to tear things down. And at that point, you have that much more to recover. People think, well, if you're that big, if you're somebody who's 260, 280 pounds, you should be able to train, 3 times a week. And I find it to be just the opposite. I was able to train more frequently and with greater volume when I was smaller, because it was easier to recover, because there wasn't as much of me. So I think in the beginning, to get yourself going and get on your way, you do need to train a little bit more frequently. You do need to do a bit more volume. But if you reach a point where you feel like, man, I'm not growing, I feel burnt out, do consider a reduction in some either volume and or frequency. Something that I want to mention, today I'm 6 months post-op, from my knee surgery, and it's a shitty injury. It was a big setback. It took me out of the gym for a while, and it really limited my training for a bit. Going back, say 12, 14 weeks ago, I was really not happy with the way that I looked, and I'm still not happy with the way that I looked. But at that point, it was very soft. I could grab like a handful of fat on my lower back. I was small, weak, and just not in very good shape. So even though I'm currently trying to rebuild my leg and my knee, I decided that it would be in my best interest to kind of clean house a little bit, get myself in better shape than I was. I'm far from being my biggest, I'm far from being my strongest, and I'm certainly far from being my leanest. It's important to, do something to improve my circumstances. And I feel that now I'm in a much better position to move forward in rebuilding this leg, bringing my calories up, starting fresh. I didn't want to just start from a point where I was already carrying a lot of body fat and then piling food on top of it. So, doing daily cardio, eating being very strict with my eating, being diligent with my training has made a big difference, and not only in improving my composition, but I do feel that in a short period of time, my leg has come a long way. So, for you guys out there, now we all have our setbacks. If there's anything I could tell you guys, try not to get frustrated. Just try to focus on, asking yourself, what can I do today to make things better? And there's always something you can do to make it better. Even if, look, I'm not happy, like I said, I'm not happy with where I'm at. I mean, last week I squatted 2 plates and a quarter on each side for 15 reps. That's so far from my best and where I want to be, and really where I need to be. But it's a hell of a lot better than where I was a few months ago. So I try to focus on that. Try not to get too hung up. Just focus on daily improvement. And that's the only way you're going to get where you want to go.